Welcome. It's one thing to learn the theory of programming, but it's a whole other thing to actually make it do something. Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're writing simple but really powerful C programs that solve real problems. This is where it all starts to click. So, let's get into it.
So are you ready? Because this is all about getting your hands dirty with code. We're going to build real working programs from scratch. Forget the abstract stuff for a minute. We're about to make the computer do some actual work for us. Let's turn these concepts into code.
Okay, first up, let's start with something we all know, math. We're going to see how C takes a basic arithmetic problem, something you could do on paper, and turns it into a program that runs. This is the foundation for everything else we'll build. Let's walk through this code line by line. We kick things off with #include_stdio.h, which basically gives us the tools for standard input and output, like printing to the screen. Then, inside our main function, where every C program starts, we declare three integer variables, a, b, and sum. We give a the value 10 and b the value 20. Now the magic happens on this line. Sum equals a plus b. The computer does the math for us. Finally, printf displays the result. That %d is just a placeholder that tells the program, hey, put an integer value right here. And boom, there it is. The program runs, adds 10 and 20, and prints sum equals 30. Simple, right? This direct link between our code and what we see on the screen is the heart of programming. But what if we want the output to look a little cleaner? To get more control, we use something called an escape sequence. You can think of it like a secret command for your computer's terminal. It always starts with a backslash, and it tells the program to do something special, like start a new line, instead of just printing the next character literally. Just look at the difference that one little \n character makes. On the left, without it, our output is just a jumbled mess all on one line. But on the right, by adding \n, we're telling the cursor to jump down to the next line. Instantly, we get clean, organized, readable output. It's a tiny change, but it has a huge impact. All right, let's move on to a classic real-world problem, converting temperature. This is the kind of logic you'd use if you were building a weather app or some kind of scientific tool. We're going to go beyond a single calculation and build a full, useful conversion table. So, how do we build this? Let's break it down. First, we declare our variables. We use float this time because temperatures can have decimal points. Second, we set up our boundaries. We'll go from 0 to 300 degrees in steps of 20. Third, inside a loop, we apply the conversion formula. And here's a key detail. Notice it says 5.0 and 9.0, not just 5 and 9. That little .0 forces C to do floating point math, which gives us an accurate decimal answer. Finally, we just print out each pair of values. And here's our final product, a beautiful, easy-to-read conversion table. Using those floats and some clever formatting in our printf statement, we get these perfectly aligned columns that make the data super easy to understand. This is way more useful than just spitting out a single number, right? Now, let's tackle a classic programming puzzle. Seriously, this one trips up so many people when they're starting out. It looks simple, but solving it correctly uncovers a really fundamental and powerful concept in C about how our data gets handled. So here's the question. Let's say you have a variable I that equals 10, and another one, j, that's 20. How do you write a function to swap them, so I becomes 20 and j becomes 10? Really think about it for a second. How would you do it? Okay, this is what most people try first. And it looks totally logical, right? You create a temporary variable, temp, to hold on to one value while you do the swap. The logic inside the function itself is perfect, but there's a huge catch. In C, when you pass variables to a function like this, the function gets copies of the values. It doesn't get the originals. This is called pass by value. And here's the proof. After we run our swap function, we print the values of I and j again, and nothing has changed. The function did swap its own private copies, sure, but the original variables we cared about were left completely untouched. This is such a critical lesson in C. So how in the world do we actually fix this? Well, the solution is one of C's most powerful and sometimes feared features, pointers. The idea is, instead of passing the values themselves, we pass the address of where those values are stored in memory. A pointer is simply a special variable that's built to hold a memory address. Getting this concept down is your gateway to doing some really advanced stuff in C. Now look at this corrected function. See those asterisks? Int *x tells C, hey, I'm expecting a memory address of an integer here, not the integer itself. Then, when we use the asterisk inside the function, like *x, we're dereferencing the pointer. That's just a fancy way of saying, don't give me the address, go to that address and give me the value you find there. This way, we're working directly with the original variables.
And look at that, success. By passing the addresses, a technique called pass by reference, our swap function now works exactly like we wanted it to. The original values are swapped for real. This is a huge concept to grasp, and now you've seen exactly how and why it works.
So far, our programs have kind of been on autopilot. They run, print some stuff, and they're done. But the real fun begins when we can actually interact with them, right? Let's look at how we can read input straight from the user, one character at a time. Our first tool for this is a function called getchar. It's super simple, but incredibly important. When your program calls getchar, it just pauses and waits. It waits for you to type a character and hit enter. As soon as you do, it grabs that character and gives it to your program. And the other half of this duo is putchar. It does exactly what it sounds like. You give it a character, and it prints that single character to the screen. Think of it as a super specialized printf that only knows how to handle one character. And here's how they work together. This program first calls getCharacter to get a character from you. Then it starts a loop. As long as the character isn't the special end-of-file signal, it immediately prints the character it just read using putchar, and then it gets the next one. What's the result? A simple echo program. Whatever you type, it instantly types it right back at you.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. We went from basic math and formatting all the way to a core concept like pointers, and even how to get user input. These are the absolute fundamental building blocks you need to start making your own useful C programs.
And just think about what you can build with these skills already. You can make your own calculators. You can build little utilities for converting things. You now know the right way to swap data. And you can create simple interactive programs. Every one of these is another tool in your programming toolbox. Here's the most important thing to take away from all this. The only way to really learn programming is by doing it. So don't just watch me do it. Get in there, write this code yourself, experiment with it, change the numbers, try to break it, and then figure out how to fix it. So my question to you is, what simple problem are you going to solve first? Your coding journey really begins right now.